Good afternoon and welcome to SM Live, back for another live stream Friday, this time a sunny one. It's our 12th SalesMaster live stream today, so great to have you with us this afternoon. I'm Chris Stott, so good to see you. We've got a great show focusing on used vehicles today. So it's about all stock being in one place on SalesMaster, so master inventory for all stock types, new, used, demo, courtesy, pre-reg and trade. So Howard's with me. Howard, how are you doing? Good week?
Yeah, really good week. Pleased it's Friday.
Yeah.
And excited to do this one.
Yeah, another busy one, wasn't it? And some great weather for the weekend, hopefully. So should be enjoying a good one. We had another busy day today with a dedicated live stream. Had another live stream this morning as part of another group rollout. So great engagement and good stats from last week's actually in terms of the implementation since, wasn't it? So yeah, really encouraging to see. So yeah, in terms of new people watching today, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Be great to have you on board on this, and we can keep in touch and share the content with you. The live streams are all available to watch back on our YouTube channel, but please put any comments through in the chat. We've got Annette with us today again, as always, moderating, so just drop a comment into the chat. Annette will put it through to us and we'll share it on the screen as normal and be able to talk through that. So used vehicles today then, Howard. We've got some good stuff. We don't often talk about used on the SalesMaster StockBook live streams, but often sort of overlooked, but a really key part of what we've got for completeness. So what sort of stuff are we going to be looking at?
Yeah, we don't tend to. You're absolutely right. We don't tend to look too much, or we haven't done in our previous 11 live streams, too much on the used side of SalesMaster. But we thought it'd be a really good idea this week to do that. To emphasise the fact that it's all stock in one place. 99% of our dealer groups use SalesMaster for all stock types. So yeah, definitely one we wanted to cover. Slightly more challenging in where the data is sourced from, but we'll talk through that when we get onto it. But yeah, it's one we wanted to highlight to everyone today.
Brilliant. And of course, used vehicles, really key time as well. Showrooms having now reopened, and that kind of hybrid omni-channel sales, managing the process online and offline, but also part of that, switching sales between new cars and used cars and demonstrators, etc., particularly with availability, any availability restrictions on new cars, and be able to sort of put somebody into a late used or a demonstrator or something, and being able to see that all in the same place. So good. Okay, well then without further ado, then we'll crack on. If you want to set your screen ready for sharing, I'll put it live.
No problem. Just give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, sure. Say, join us on the channel by subscribing. That'd be great. We've got a few more people on with us today, so it's nice to see you, and look forward to sharing some more content with you soon. So here we go. Okay, you're on, mate.
Yeah, brilliant. Looking good.
Yeah.
Just logging into our normal environment. As I mentioned, we've got lots of different subset of vehicles in this environment. Predominantly we've been focused on new vehicles and sharing them online, and the sales status changes and everything that we've done previously, which in effect is exactly the same when it comes to the used stock. Interestingly, we talk about used stock versus new, but the used stock actually covers more stock types within SalesMaster. It could be a demo vehicle. It could be a trade vehicle. It could even be a pre-reg vehicle, and we do highlight them in SalesMaster as well. So I'm going to show a little way of searching for them, just to look for all of your what we would call your used stock in the access. Okay, so what we can do here is straight into the search function. Look for a brand, so I'm just going to pick Mercedes on this, and what you'll notice straight away, so out of the we've drilled it down from the large 20,000 amount of vehicles down to just under 3,000 here, but you can see the stock type. We've got some used vehicles in there and some new, so a mix of both. And as we continue to drill down into into the data, that will just keep, they will remain until we come to what we're specifically looking for. So if I just have a look a bit more for the A class, it's still keeping that it's looking at all stock types, because I haven't specifically said actually just show me all the new ones, or of course just show me all the used ones. Now, as I mentioned on this, typing in new will show you all the new cars, very straightforward, makes sense. Typing in used does exactly the same. But when we come to used, we also talk about the demos as well, and the pre-reg vehicles or any other stock type within that. So the best way to do that is to, rather than to just use the stock type like so, is to actually use minus new. So that just then removes the new vehicles out of your list. So in this case, it's just showing me used cars, but of course, in many live accounts, you have various other ways of displaying the stock type within that as well. So again, I'm going to minus out the sold vehicles within that as well. So we're just drilling down all the time. But this time, what we wanted to highlight a bit more on today is what information we take and how it's displayed in your SalesMaster or StockBook environment. So I may look for vehicles with images on them or photos. So in this case, you can see I've got a little token that says image yes or image no. Obviously, if I wanted to report on vehicles that didn't have images and wanted to do something about that, I would just take the ones that are no, but I'm going to say image is yes. So you can see here, out of the Mercedes A-Class that are not new and are not sold, but do have images on there, I've got 7 vehicles. So from a live account, that obviously would be of a much larger scale, because we're taking all the images from the web providers. So from a used car perspective, that you're advertising on your website, they would then display in SalesMaster accordingly.
And just as a reminder on that, we've got the feeds from multiple sources. So we consume it from the DMS, usually through an integration, and then as you just said, the enhancement feed around website enhancement, vehicle specification, image, video, etc., usually from another source, but then SalesMaster joins up both data sets and provides it in one place. So yeah,
brilliant. And what I'm going to do here, I've got some good information on this one actually. So my standard configuration on here is good. So I've got the stock type, I've got the price, I've got the mileage, the site, the vehicle status. Just on that, we do actually show vehicles that are waiting arrival as well. So when we're powering this stock from the DMS, if the vehicle is due to arrive at a later date, that would display still in SalesMaster at the client's choice, but it would say awaiting arrival, and it'd have a negative days in stock.
So like a pending, pending or pre-committed purchase of used stock, in the same way, I suppose, as your factory pipeline of new stock. It allows you just to be a bit, get ahead of the curve, and whilst on a used car, you're probably not going to necessarily sell it before it comes into stock, because it's a vehicle that probably an individual vehicle, but having that foresight and being able to pre-sell and manage the inventory efficiently as possible.
Yeah. So that just putting everything in this one place from various sources. So I'm just gonna add in a few. I'm just gonna jump into column chooser before we go into the vehicles, just to bring in some headers that I may want to kind of have in my view, because I'm just looking at used stock from this perspective. So I might want other information. So as I mentioned, I've got the retail price that we're just promoting on our web platform and to other various third parties, but I've got the mileage. But I'm going to bring in other things, like registration number. So I'm just going to bring in the reg number, and I may bring in some various other bits of information like fuel type and so forth. So I've got some really key information on these vehicles, looking at more from a used car perspective. Now we will go back to column chooser shortly, where we're looking at more specific to use, so the likes of standing values, non-recoverable costs, even vehicle margins that we have in SalesMaster as well, just to show you that everything that's available
So you can make it, like a real tailored stock list specific for used. I mean, in some instances, I know we've seen some customers have separate, some of our retailer partners have separate new and used sales teams. So it's possible to separate that and customize the views, or have everything in one place, as we've just shown. So, but yeah, that's a good point, Howard. The column chooser kind of functionality to be able to get it appropriate for that use case, in the same way that a salesperson's login and view would be quite different probably to sales admin or some management reporting in a group role. So
it's having all the stock in one place with all of the information, but picking off what information you need for your relevant requirements within the display. So it's make it that really simple to just grab a header, drop it into your view, either go away and set, go on to the save views and save that, or of course, just have it as and when you want it.
Yeah.
But lots of information available. So it's always worth, when you get hold of SalesMaster, and we talk about this when we do the training, is really get into Column Chooser, get the information that you want out of it, and see what's there.
Yeah. Okay, and I suppose following on from last week as well, around the multi-site visibility, where you've got here, I noticed several of, this is a group login, so you're looking across those different Mercedes locations. So yeah, increased visibility to be able to sell more stock from a wider sales team on used cars in the same way as new.
Yeah, and obviously, on that as well. But we looked for vehicles that had images on there. So you can see here I've got an image count header as well. I think we've looked at this in previous times when we looked at new vehicles, but I can have that in my view as well. So you can see here I've got these 7 vehicles, and it's got a nice image count on there for me as well. So, and you can drill down into them. So as I mentioned, you can create your search to say, show me all the vehicles with less than a number that you need to get, you want to be at, which tends to be around sort of 18, 19, 20 kind of mark of a standard we see on across the platform, and sometimes more. So once I click into that vehicle, hopefully it will start to show me some images, which it has. It said that it had 8 images on there. You can see it's got a bit of the detail, clear view of the car within that. But what I might want to interact a bit more with the photos. So you can see this tab up the top here. When you click on that, you can see the 8 images that we have appended to this vehicle. Now, as you may have noticed, when we first logged in, the first image it came up with was this picture of a wheel. So you might want to navigate around these and just change the sequence of those images for you as well on your rolling screen. So all I need to do is I can just grab that image like so. I've just clicked on it, just 1 second, like so, and I can choose. Actually, I might have to just go into edit vehicle to do this, but I can move these images around as I want in whatever sequence. So putting this one at the front of the page like so, and then bringing it back like that. So
got you. So if you're
save that,
in some instances, I think most image integrations we have will have that sort of a level of quality assurance in the image provider. But if there's any changes you want to make, or if you're uploading images manually into SalesMaster, you've got that interface and option to reorder them. But if the images are specified in an integration which we have with most of the image providers, they're usually specified in that API when we pull the information in. But yeah, great to be able to sort of customize it and just to have a final check before you're publishing.
Yeah, definitely, and also that comes down when you download the spec sheet as well. So the spec sheet, when you pull down a spec sheet off of a specific vehicle, it brings through the first 6 images of that vehicle. So you don't get obviously loaded the page with 20 plus images. So the 6 that you might want to sequence to be able to pull through on that as well.
Okay, yeah. and the PDF sheet is kind of a way of presenting that to a customer from the site that you work from, rather than the site that the vehicle's in stock with.
Yeah, but I've seen it used when the vehicle does exist as well, in your own showroom or your own dealership, where you download it and you print it off and you pass it over.
Yeah, just to be able to have that branded documentation that gives a professional, or more often than not now, emailing or texting that PDF to a customer on a remote inquiry.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. So attaching it to an email and pinging it off somewhere. And always remembering that it's got your details of where you're based rather than where the vehicle's based. So,
yeah.
A bit of reassurance on that as well.
That's good. And videos, I know we've not got any videos, I don't think, in this environment, but videos work in exactly the same way. In that you've got that kind of edit, showing the videos on the vehicle record, but also if there were multiple ways of handling images and media, we would just see that in the same way. Because I've seen, Steve certainly talks about our high line of we're seeing more and more video content on the stock in SalesMaster across the platform, which is obviously encouraging, but also recognising that it's very important to have a good representation of all of the vehicles online. So we are seeing a huge increase in all media on the inventory on the platform.
As the technology kind of moves as well, and people are able to do this, whilst they're taking the image, they can walk around the vehicle, take a video, take a video of that, and have it in SalesMaster. Well, for that purpose, if it does belong to another site, which tends to happen when it's used stock anyway, to be able to watch a video, sit with a customer and watch a video, or even to pass that video link on, really powerful to keep that in here as well.
Good. And it's something you said, Howard, before, I think, about with our reporting, say, on days in stock and videos and images, and having a bit of a threshold around, yes, of course, everyone wants to maximise days in stock, and getting the vehicles covered with images and videos is essential to get them for retailing, but having some controls in SalesMaster to see that kind of combination of a vehicle with a certain age, but also whether it's got a certain number of images and things. That's, I think you've shown it before previously on some of the new car, but all of that's relevant, of course, in this area too.
Yeah, absolutely. So grouping those, going straight into Search Builder and grouping those vehicles to be able to give you that coverage information.
So by site, for example, or division, or whichever you'd want to report on.
So that's it by site. So it's got a count there, and then I can just go straight for. We know that we've got different type of coverage on cap, or the key facts, or offer price, video coverage, and if I just grab the image one and just bring it into that view as well, you can see the image coverage is 100% because they've all got
they're all in images. Yes, yeah. And then days in stock, add that to it as well. We can get that and see that in the same piece.
Yeah. So just bring that in straight as a header as well, like so.
Brilliant.
But what you may want to do with that, to build a kind of more of a workflow version of that, is actually go into Search Builder again and say image count, and then go for what you'd expect. So at the minute we've got one of these cars has got one image on it, and we're saying that's 100%. But if we said actually we want to just see,
there needs to be 6+, or
yeah. So then you'll just have that report all the time coming through on there as well. So actually show me the vehicles that have got more than 6. We've only got the one that we looked at earlier. But you then can say actually build me a report that says images less than or more than. So let's do that. So image count is less than. So we expect 2. So that will drop off. There's only 2 vehicles there. And then the days in stock, we want to know actually we've had it for more than 3 days.
Yeah.
So giving people a bit of grace to get the images done. Or whatever number that wants to be. But and then just creating those reports.
So as you say, that can be like a workflow, as a to-do list for your photo list or something, to be able to then push that out to whoever's organising the images.
So 2 image or 2 photo, like so, and then simply just save that, like so, and then pin it as a tab, and then you can recall it as often as you require. And as that's fully dynamic, as we've mentioned in the past, that will always be a rolling list and workflow, as you say.
And schedule as well, just coupling. I know we covered this on reporting, but scheduling that presumably as a catch-all for the end of the week or the end of the day or whatever you feel is an appropriate time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think once you've set your criteria, that's as often as you want to bring it in, really. But you probably want it every Monday and every Friday at in the morning.
Yeah.
So you know what you've got starting this week. And then you may, who's responsible for your images may not or photos may not have access to SalesMaster. So yes, you could share this report with them, but in actual fact, you may want them just to email them the list and say these are the ones that we need to do. So just add in an additional recipient into that email chain.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, let's just cut back to the cameras for a second then, because I think we've shown previously quite a lot about new cars. We've shown a bit on the used car just now. In terms of the overall platform, obviously, all stock in one place has been SalesMaster's I suppose positioning. But how does it fit within the businesses? How many people do we have kind of using it for both? Do people tend to be new cars or used cars, or is it everything? How does it work in terms of a retailer setup?
No, we do. Yeah, we do see a split in the sales teams from a new and used. It tends to be quite brand specific but when you deliver SalesMaster and you've got all the stock in one place, absolutely right. It just gives the ability to it may be that the customer is looking for a used vehicle and you're looking for a used vehicle with them, but you've got an option to go new there as well with the same requirements that they're looking for. So, really clear, transparent about what is available.
Yeah.
What stock have we got? And, and it makes it just more powerful to have that access as well.
Yeah.
And you don't need to go in and out of different systems then, because everything is coming into one place. So, just one set of simple, easy search function that you can find the vehicles from.
Brilliant. And in terms of SalesMaster, obviously we offer this in overall. StockBook covers everything. It's the whole point. The platform is all stock types, but we do offer StockBook One as kind of a single, one stock type. Which tends to be implemented on new cars first, doesn't it? Purely on the feeds to online. But in many cases, I think when we're implementing a StockBook One, it moves straight to full StockBook during that time because of the benefits of bringing used into the mix as well.
Yeah, it does. And lots of our implementations are to do with online channels. So feeding from a new car perspective, one of our big USPs really. But, you soon see that the requirement, or can you do used? Why not? Why wouldn't I have it all in one place?
Yeah.
Across everything. Yeah.
That's good to see.
It's amazing. It's amazing what gets highlighted when you do bring it into SalesMaster as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's another interesting thing on used cars in particular, because it does tend to be where our new vehicles stock is powered by the factory feeds in most cases. The used is often, the DMS obviously is where all of the used assets are accounted for, so that tends to be the master kind of data source for used vehicles in terms of that cost allocation and things. So, but you're absolutely right. When we plug StockBook in on top of a dealer management system, it can, it shows that there's actually quite a lot of cleansing that needs to go on in terms of the inventory that's available in there. So quite often that becomes a bit of that's part of the implementation almost. But of course, we'll then merge another feed on to try and improve and simplify that job.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the other one that was mentioned actually in one of the implementations recently was around funding as well, which is, I think, one just to mention as it's worth pointing out on used cars. So if you have most will have a stocking, a funding plan, stock funding, unit funding plan, we are able to consume a feed for that as well in most cases. I know they vary depending on the finance provider and the brands, etc., and the different funders. So, but usually we can get a feed that will then merge and match that data against the DMS data, so that you can maximise those funding plans and make the cash work as efficiently as possible to be able to identify vehicles that aren't funded, that have been in stock for a certain age and things. So that's another. It's obviously difficult to demonstrate some of this stuff in a demo environment because we don't have the live kind of funding feeds within there. The other thing that's quite tricky to demonstrate is the enhancement that we do on the stock. Again, it was a meeting with the data team last week or the week before around taking the data coming out from a DMS feed or just even a spreadsheet in through to SalesMaster. We can then use the various lookup services to enhance that data. I don't know if you've got an example of that in where we've seen sort of we take basically the reg number, don't we, to backfill the data to make it more of a standardized format. So but it's difficult to show you that because it's all been enhanced already. So
it's the data team that obviously do those enhancements and those as you say, the cleanse of the data. It's absolutely, you want it to look the best you possibly can in your environment on SalesMaster. You want it to be able to be as customer friendly as possible. You can turn the screen and say, this is what we got. This is what I'm looking at.
Good stuff. And I think some of these we've got some interesting stuff coming on the integrations, particularly with some of the DMS integrations and other media integrations. So this will be we will continue to elaborate a bit more on this used car theme as we move forward in the next few shows. So but please drop us a message if there's anything in particular you would like us to cover as part of that. So I've just noticed you've got a new t-shirt on, Howard. So
I have, yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
I think the emblems on the other arm as well. So,
mixing it up.
Still says the same.
Okay, well, I think that's about it for us today, isn't it? It's a shorter one this afternoon, so we're just on the half-hour mark. So I think it's unless you've got anything else to add, Howard.
No, I obviously didn't go into the standing values and non-recoverable costs too much because we don't have the data in there. Because it's not live, as you mentioned. But it's always worth mentioning when we talk about used vehicles that where those initial standing values, what's the vehicle margin, what's available on there, is always worth being open.
And that's all permission. That was all the rest of the application, permission driven by role and or individual, so that you can manage who has access to what data in the platform. So, but as you say, being able to see used vehicle, and that's again some interesting stuff coming with some of the integrations to get that real-time availability and also some of the cost information on the vehicle. So hopefully more on that to come. Good stuff. Okay, well, that's it for today. So thanks ever so much for those new viewers that we've got. Please hit the subscribe button, join the channel. Be great to hear from you and to let us know what other content you would like as part of these. We'll look forward to seeing. I don't think we're going to do one next Friday because it's the end of the month, so it's not the best.
We've done that before.
We have, but we'll find a suitable date and share that with you on the usual channels. So, but for now, it's been great this afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Hope you enjoy the sunshine and have a great weekend. So, thanks very much. Cheers.